Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We're going to be checking out a video titled Poland's Epic CIA Rescue Mission. This was a video that was recommended. I don't remember who recommended this video, but I will find the screenshot that I took. Right, it was a comment on one of my recent videos about Poland, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna check out this video because CIA, United States, Poland. So yeah, rescue mission? Ain't no way Poland rescuing no CIA, right? But that's what the title says, so we're gonna just jump right into this video right now. So thank you for watching this video. If you have any recommendations, leave those in the comment section down below. Perfect, take that link in the pinned comment section, and I'll check out that video as soon as possible. Without further ado, let's get right into this video.
In 1990, a highly classified Polish intelligence operation was conducted in Iraq. The mission of the operation...
Oh, okay. Well, if it's Iraqi, then I can see how, yeah, because America was there.
...was to assist in the withdrawal of 6 American operatives who were a mix of CIA and DIA officers investigating Iraqi troop movements in the lead-up to the Gulf War. You might be asking yourself at this point, why would the CIA turn to Poland, a Cold War enemy by all accounts, to help extract its operatives from Iraq? After all, this is
A Cold War enemy? I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I'm sorry, Poland. Damn, I didn't know that.
1990. The Berlin Wall had only just come down a few months earlier. The Soviet Union was still in existence, and Poland was yet to formally confirm Lech Wałęsa as its first democratically elected president. What happened?
Right.
Our story begins on August 2nd, 1990, when Saddam Hussein's tanks rolled across the border into Kuwait. At that time, 6 American intelligence officers from the CIA and DIA were on a covert mission near Kuwait's border with Iraq. And as the Iraqi army advanced, they found themselves on the wrong side of the front line. However, since they did not have diplomatic cover identities, they could not seek assistance from the US Embassy. What made matters worse is that their mission was highly sensitive. According to both Polish and US sources, these American officers were investigating the movements of Iraqi troops in the lead-up to the invasion of Kuwait. Without other options, the 6 American spies fled to Baghdad, along with hundreds of other foreigners. They moved from place to place, trying to stay ahead of Iraqi intelligence, but their predicament quickly became very dangerous. Despite not being taken hostage or directly threatened by the Iraqis yet, the group was in significant danger of being caught.
They're just gonna, that's all that's gonna happen. You're just gonna get, so if you don't really understand, I don't think a lot of people watching this would not understand why they were, practically panicking. It's simple. Like, do you know that a lot of people cannot go a lot of places because of their attachment? Like, I was surprised, but there are countries that Americans cannot go. Like, it's not safe to go there because they know that's it. Your ass is out of there. So I do understand.
Severity of the situation and potential fallout from a group of CIA and DIA operatives being caught in Iraq grabbed the attention of senior US government officials. The issue was discussed in meetings of the National Security Council, and the then CIA Director William Webster was asked to keep the White House informed of every development in the operation. What made things worse is that the CIA was caught in an uncomfortable situation, as without their own resources on the ground, they needed to rely on allies to help in the extraction of their assets. But having reached out to several European intelligence agencies for assistance, including Great Britain and France, and having their request for assistance declined due to the dangerous nature of the operation and the incredibly volatile situation on the ground, with the ongoing invasion of Kuwait underway, they were left with only one last crazy idea. Poland, by all accounts a bitter Cold War enemy, would draw less suspicion. The choice to involve Poland also made sense for another reason. There were several thousand Polish citizens working on construction projects in Iraq, allowing Polish intelligence operatives to move more inconspicuously. This was a crucial factor in successfully getting the 6 American officers out of Iraq undetected. What happened next was as daring as it was insane. The Polish Minister of Internal Affairs and the chief of UOP, the Polish intelligence agency, Krzysztof Kozłowski, assigned Gromosław Kempinski, a former Polish spy who was previously based in the United States and participated in many operations against Western intelligence services as the commander for the mission in Iraq. Kempinski was a man known for finding creative solutions to intractable problems, and he quickly got to work. For weeks he worked out of Warsaw to figure out a way to help the 6 American agents make an escape from Iraq. The first step was to provide some security to the Americans, and this was done by giving them refuge at a Polish construction camp outside of Baghdad. The longer the mission took to plan, though, the more difficult it became. The situation in Iraq changed daily. Saddam Hussein, the then president of Iraq, wasted no time in imposing strict travel restrictions on diplomats and establishing military checkpoints on all highways following his invasion of Kuwait in 1990. The only foreigners allowed any freedom of movement were those working on government contracts, a group that included many Poles. As Washington and Warsaw struggled with bureaucratic red tape in devising the plan to extract the 6 American intelligence officers trapped in Iraq, the Poles proposed a solution: send their own intelligence officers into Baghdad to take charge of the operation. A decision that was at the same time both shocking and impressive to the Americans. The plan was daring and the mission incredibly risky. As Poles arrived in Baghdad to rescue the Americans, they were confronted with a harrowing sight. The Americans they were tasked with saving were in a dire state, worn out to the core by the weeks in hiding. They were in real danger, and the Polish officers knew they had to act quickly to get them out of Iraq alive. Despite the Poles' past as Warsaw Pact spies, they felt compelled to help their former enemies. As one later put it, most of us
I still cannot wrap my head around the fact that all this time I've been doing Polish reaction videos and I've not known that Poland and the US was once enemies. I didn't know that. Like, how is that even possible? Like, I don't get it. Like, I genuinely don't understand. Like, based on the enemies that Poland had, I would imagine that Poland and the US would have been buddies. I am so shocked. Honestly shocked. Crazy.
weren't believers, just professionals. Besides, these guys were CIA guys. If they were caught in Iraq, that's the death penalty. We said these guys are our colleagues. We had to help them. They knew that if the Americans were caught in Iraq, it would mean certain death. The stakes were high, and there was no room for error. With little time to waste, the Polish officers got to work, providing the Americans with fake passports from a Slavic country. But there was one problem. The Americans couldn't even pronounce the names on the passports they were given, which would blow their cover, so they were ordered to remain silent in the presence of Iraqis. The Poles then scoured the city, studying the roads and checkpoints to find the safest route out of Iraq. They experimented with different identities, assuming roles such as driver, journalist, and diplomat. But the risks were great, and danger lurked around every corner. Despite the immense pressure, the Americans remained disciplined, working with their Polish rescuers. They knew that their lives were in the hands of these officers, who up until a few months earlier were their Cold War enemies. This, though, had to be put to the side, as they had to trust them completely. Finally, after several weeks of living in constant fear of discovery, the Poles received a signal that they had to move quickly. They were informed that people had started to ask questions. To make the plan work, though, they needed the help of some Polish civilians to get the job done. One man in particular caught their attention: a Polish technician. Just weeks earlier, on August 18, 1990, this man guided a convoy of 13 buses carrying Vietnamese, Filipinos, Germans, and Poles to Iraq's border post at Trabil, where the plan was to cross into Jordan. However, upon arrival at the border, he saw that the crossing had turned into utter chaos, with thousands trying to leave the country. In the midst of the confusion, he took a walk to cool off and stumbled upon a small gap in the border fence. As a technician, he quickly untwisted the wires, creating a gaping hole. And with that, in just about an hour, 430 people from 13 buses successfully slithered out of Iraq through the breach in the fence and into Jordan. As word of his heroics quickly spread through the Polish community in Iraq, his feat caught the attention of the Polish intelligence officers charged with rescuing the American agents. They approached him to ask for his help. He agreed. After several weeks, the Polish officer leading the escape arranged for their departure and sent a cable to Warsaw, which was to be relayed to Washington to inform them of their plans to leave with the Americans. However, at the last minute, a cancellation message arrived due to the Americans' lack of exit visas from the Iraqi government in their counterfeit passports. Washington demanded that they obtain the necessary visas, which would take several more weeks to resolve. Despite the setback, the officer persisted in finding a solution and prepared for another departure. On the morning of the planned operation, at 2 a.m., the Polish officer sent another cable to Washington, notifying the US government that they would move at 5:30 a.m. However, a reply arrived at 5 a.m., advising them to cancel, this time due to the CIA's objection to the Polish officer's presence. Nevertheless, the Polish civilians refused to proceed without their leader, and so the Poles decided to disregard the CIA's message. As the sun rose, the 6 Americans piled into a convoy of cars, together with their Polish handler, and headed off, north, to Turkey, a distance of just over 500 kilometers, or 300 miles.
Wait, what? So are all these countries close together? Because I know Turkey is in Europe, right? Am I tripping? Like, the reality is speaking, I don't know much about the globe outside of North America and most of Europe. Like, outside of that, I don't know anything. But back before I started learning about Europe, I didn't know where all the countries were. Only country I knew about was the UK because I have family ties to the UK. So I know about the UK because I have family there. It's that simple. But outside of that, I don't know nothing else, right? But as I go, I get, a little bit more knowledge, which is great. But this is very interesting.
During the drive north, the technician, similarly to the Polish intelligence officers, attempted to teach the Americans in one of the cars how to pronounce the Slavic names on their passports, but was unsuccessful. Many of them had strong Midwestern accents, causing the technician to worry about encountering a Polish-speaking Iraqi. You may find this unlikely, but consider this. In the 1970s and 1980s, thousands of Iraqis had studied in Poland. This was a real risk. A nightmare that could blow the whole operation if it came true. A nightmare that soon became a reality, just north of Mosul. At a military checkpoint, an Iraqi officer approached one of the cars and examined some of the passports. To the surprise of the technician, the officer spoke in flawless Polish, exclaiming how fortunate he was to see his dear friends. The technician's heart raced as he leapt from the car and, following Slavic custom, embraced the security agent with 3 kisses on the cheeks and a warm bear hug. After exchanging pleasantries and admiring his Polish, they chatted about the weather and the state of the world. Recalling the passports, the technician urged the Iraqi officer to inspect them. However, he kindly replied that there was no need, as they were friends, and could proceed without issue. A narrow escape.
Nah.
But the road to the border was still long. The risk of encountering another Polish-speaking Iraqi meant that the team decided more drastic measures needed to be taken. The Polish officer halted the convoy on a desolate stretch of highway, closer to the Turkish border, and strode over to the technician's car. He took out bottles of Johnny Walker Red from his bag and handed them to the American passengers.
Get busy, boys! Okay, why am I doing that on camera? But get busy.
Drink, he said. The plan was to get them stone-cold drunk, so they would resemble Slavic workers under the influence of alcohol, conforming to an Iraqi stereotype of Eastern Europeans, and thus lubricating, if you will, their passage into Turkey. However, this strategy failed. Whether it was their training or anxiety, the 6 American agents and their Polish handlers remained completely sober as they arrived at the border crossing between Iraq and Turkey at sunset. At the border, things went surprisingly smoothly, and although the Polish officer suggested that the Americans walk leisurely to the Turkish side, where Polish officials would be waiting for them, they didn't follow his advice. They sprinted like athletes, the technician later recalled in an interview. The success of the operation was seen as a significant achievement for Polish intelligence, demonstrating their ability to carry out complex and high-stakes operations.
Pretty cool,
The
man.
operation also helped to establish closer ties between the US and Poland, paving the way for future cooperation
NATO.
in areas such as counterterrorism and intelligence sharing. Despite the tense and
Yeah, this is exactly why I'm shocked, because like Poland is in NATO. It's like, wait, what? They were ops at one moment? That's crazy.
volatile situation in the Middle East at the time, the Polish operatives were able to complete the mission without any casualties, showcasing their expertise in intelligence gathering and covert operations. In addition to rescuing the 6 American operatives, the Poles also obtained secret maps of military installations and crucial points in Baghdad that proved vital for Operation Desert Storm. As a reward for Poland's help, the US government worked with its allies to cancel half of Poland's $33 billion foreign debt. A deal to that effect was signed with the so-called Paris Club of Creditors on April 21st, 1991. If
That's
you enjoyed
cool.
this video,
That was cool. That's respectful. I'm very appreciative of what the United States did for Poland in return. Life and money is quite similar. You win $1 million, but somebody dies, it crushes your soul. But somebody died, then you win $1 million. You're like, oh man, really happy to have this. It sucks that the person is gone, but hey, you're gonna still have something. So pretty good that they did what they did. Very much appreciated. I'm still confused as to how the United States and Poland were enemies. I had no idea. I had absolutely no idea. I just know they're buddies because of now current history. I'm like, what? Anyways, who says that? I don't know who says that. You didn't hear it from me. But either ways, guys, thank you for watching this video. Let me know your thoughts and feedbacks in the comment section down below. I'm out of here. Peace.